Welcome back to Retro Football Club. I'm AI Allen, back with another video as chosen by you, the viewer. We are hopping back to 1994 and sticking with the obscure player theme once again. So without further delay, what happened to the most obscure player from every team in Merlin's Premier League 94? David Hillier was a midfielder who came through Arsenal's youth academy in the late 80s, captaining their youth team to final glory in 1988. He broke into George Graham's first team and became a regular during the early 90s. By 1993, however, injuries and a dip in form saw his opportunities limited. He is also involved in off-field controversies, including testing positive for cannabis during a drugs test and being found guilty of stealing luggage from Gatwick Airport. He was sold just a few months into Arsene Wenger's tenure, having made 143 league appearances for Arsenal. He then joined Portsmouth, where he spent 3 seasons before moving on to Bristol Rovers and later Barnet, retiring with the latter in 2003. Since retiring, he has worked as a fireman in the Bristol area, while also managing non-league sides Oldland, Abingtonians and Almondsbury. Additionally, he has appeared for Arsenal Legends in charity matches, and has occasionally worked as a co-commentator on Arsenal TV. Shaun Teale was a centre-back who began his career in modest surroundings, making over 200 appearances combined for non-league sides Southport and Weymouth, before joining Bournemouth in 1989. In 1991, he moved to Aston Villa, where he became a formidable presence in defence, playing a key role in the side's second-place finish in the Premier League in 1993. However, he later lost his place in the team to a young Yogo Ayog, and departed Villa at the end of the 1994-95 season to join Tranmere Rovers. Teale later played for clubs including Motherwell, Carlisle United and Southport before transitioning into management. He took over as player manager at Berska before moving on to Northwich Victoria and later leaving football in 2006 following a spell as manager of Chorley. Since stepping away from the game, he has run a pub and restaurant in the Berska area. Blackburn's most obscure sticker was Nicky Marker. Like Shaun Teale, Marker made his name in the Football League and chalked up just shy of 400 league appearances for rivals Exeter City and Plymouth Argyle between 1983 and 1992. He joined Premier League Blackburn under Kenny Dalglish, but was primarily used as a backup over his 5 seasons, which included winning the league in 1995. Marker departed the club at the end of the 96-97 season, having only made 54 league appearances during that time. He later spent 2 years with Sheffield United, which included a brief loan back with Plymouth. He briefly appeared for Cheltenham Town and non-league Tiverton Town before an 8-year managerial stint with Ivybridge Town between 2013 and 2018, which even saw him pulling on his boots again for a single game in 2011. Young Scottish midfielder Andy Dow joined Chelsea in 1993 from Dundee. His time at Stamford Bridge was largely forgettable, as he struggled for minutes under Glenn Hoddle. Although he remained at the club until 1996, Dow made just 16 appearances and had a loan spell with Bradford City. He spent the remainder of his career in his native Scotland, enjoying solid spells with both Hibernian and Aberdeen, before later moving on to Motherwell, St Mirren, Arbroath and Wraith Rovers. Not much is known about Dow's whereabouts since retiring in 2004, though various forum discussions suggest that he either owns or has owned pubs in the Dundee area. Have you ever been served by Andy Dow? Let us know in the comments. Sean Flynn was a versatile midfielder who could also operate as a forward. He came through the academy at Coventry City, where he spent the first 4 seasons of his professional career, scoring 9 goals in 97 appearances. However, he was deemed surplus to requirements by Ron Atkinson in the summer of 1995. Flynn moved on to Derby County, where he was part of Jim Smith's Rams side that earned promotion to the Premier League in his first season. In 1997, he joined West Bromwich Albion, where he remained for 3 seasons before moving to Tranmere Rovers and later Kidderminster Harriers. After dropping out of professional football in 2003, Flynn spent the next 9 years as a non-league journeyman, playing for Evesham United, Redditch United, Bodmin Town, Mullion, Falmouth Town and Penzance Town. He later moved into management, taking charge of Mullion for several years. Flynn continues to reside and work in Cornwall. Right back Paul Holmes began his career with Doncaster Rovers before making a name for himself at Torquay United, where he played just under 150 games before joining Birmingham City in 1992. A year later, he made the step up to the Premier League with Everton, though he remained a backup player during his 3-year stint. Holmes made just 21 appearances for the Toffees and had a loan spell with West Bromwich Albion before joining them permanently. In 1999, he returned to Torquay United to see out the remainder of his career, eventually retiring in 2003. Holmes worked outside of football after retiring, but returned to public attention in 2023 when he was diagnosed with cancer. Sadly, he lost his battle on May 7, 2024. Liverpool native Paul Mason signed his first professional contract with Dutch side FC Groningen. The midfielder made 103 appearances over 4 years before moving to Scotland with Aberdeen, where he won several cups in 1989 and 1990. Mason scored 27 goals in 158 games for the Dons before joining Ipswich Town in 1993. He became a regular for the Tractor Boys and remained with the club until his retirement in 1998. In total, Mason netted 36 goals for Ipswich and was well regarded throughout his time at Portman Road. Since retiring, he has worked outside of football and now lives in Southport, where he runs his own guest house. Mark Beeney was a goalkeeper who began his career with Gillingham, though he failed to make a league appearance before moving to Maidstone United in 1987. His performances earned him a move to Brighton and Hove Albion in 1990, where he became the club's first-choice goalkeeper. His consistent displays caught the attention of Leeds United, who signed him in 1993. However, with John Luckich firmly established as Leeds' number 1, Beeney struggled for regular game time and made just 35 league appearances during his 7 years at Elland Road. After being released by Leeds in 1999, he joined Doncaster Rovers before later playing for Dover Athletic. He finished his playing career with Sittingbourne in 2003, where he remained as manager. Following retirement, Beeney moved into coaching and spent many years as academy goalkeeping coach at Chelsea, remaining with the club from 2007 until 2021. He now works away from the sport for a logistics firm. Scottish international midfielder Don Hutchison began his career with Hartlepool United before earning a move to Liverpool in 1990. Initially used as a forward, he struggled for regular game time but still made 52 appearances in all competitions, scoring 10 goals before departing in 1994. He moved on to West Ham United, where he became a key player under Harry Redknapp. After 3 seasons at Upton Park, Hutchison joined Sheffield United in 1996, where he remained for several seasons. In 1998, he earned a move back to the Premier League with Everton, where he enjoyed a strong 2-year spell, making 78 appearances. He later moved on to Sunderland before a return to West Ham in 2001, but his second spell was plagued with injury. Hutchinson later had spells with Millwall, Coventry City, and Luton Town before retiring in 2008. Since retiring, he has remained involved in football as a pundit, regularly appearing on television and radio to provide analysis. Alfons Groenendijk was a Dutch midfielder who began his career with Den Haag before moving to Roda JC in 1987. After 2 years, he signed for Ajax, where he played under Johan Cruyff. Despite the club's success, Groenendijk struggled for game time and moved to Manchester City in 1993. His time in England was brief, and he struggled to make an impact, making only 9 league appearances before leaving at the end of the 93-94 campaign. He returned to the Netherlands and saw his career out with Sparta Rotterdam and FC Utrecht. Following retirement, he moved into coaching, taking on various assistant roles before becoming head coach of Den Bosch and Excelsior. He later managed Den Haag between 2017 and 2020. Since then, he has worked as an assistant coach. A quick break to say thank you to our subscribers. If Merlin's Premier League stickers are your thing, you've got plenty more to chew out, as well as other stories, retro goals, stats, and much more. If that floats your boat, pop a like and consider subscribing. Anyway, let's jump back in. Paul Parker was a tenacious right-back who began his career with Fulham, coming through the club's academy before making over 150 appearances between 1982 and 1987. His performances earned him a move to Queen's Park Rangers, where he became a key player and an England international. In 1991, he signed for Manchester United, where he played a crucial role in their early Premier League dominance under Sir Alex Ferguson. Parker was United's first-choice right-back during their first 2 title-winning campaigns, but later lost his place due to injuries and the emergence of Gary Neville. After leaving Old Trafford in 1996, Parker had brief spells with Derby County, Sheffield United, Fulham and Chelsea before finishing his career with non-league Heybridge Swifts and Farnborough Town. Following retirement, he moved into coaching, managing Chelmsford City, Welling United and Folkestone Invicta. These days, Parker primarily works as a pundit for Sky Sports. Nikki Papavasiliou was an attacking midfielder who became the first Cypriot player to play in the Premier League. He began his career with OFI Crete in Greece, where he established himself as a promising talent before earning a move to England with Newcastle United in 1993. His time at St James Park was brief, making only 7 appearances under Kevin Keegan during the 93-94 season before leaving. He returned to Crete in 1994, but would soon return to Cyprus, where he saw the remainder of his career out with Apollon Limassol, Anorthos, Paralimni and Apol Nicosia, cementing his status as a key figure in Cypriot football. After retiring, he moved into management, coaching a number of clubs in Cyprus, Greece and Egypt, as well as Slovakian side Slovan Bratislava in 2015. He has recently just parted ways with Egyptian side Al Ittihad. Daryl Sutch was a versatile defender and midfielder who spent the majority of his career with Norwich City. A product of the club's youth academy, he made his senior debut in 1990 and became a regular in the team throughout the 1990s. Capable of playing in defence or midfield, Sutch played a key role in the Canaries' famous third-place finish in the inaugural Premier League season in 92-93 and was part of the squad that defeated Bayern Munich in the UEFA Cup later that year. He remained a dependable figure at Carrow Road for over a decade, making 302 league appearances and scoring 9 goals. After leaving Norwich in 2003, he had a brief spells with Southend United and Boston United before retiring from professional football. Following his retirement, Sutch moved away from the game and has worked in property as an estate agent, while still making occasional appearances at Norwich City events. Ian Olney was a striker who began his career with Aston Villa, coming through the club's youth system before making his senior debut in 1987. Seen as a promising young forward, he was a regular for Villa in the late 1980s and early 1990s, forming part of the squad that finished as runners-up in the First Division in 89-90. After 5 years at Villa Park, Olney moved to Oldham Athletic in 1992 for a fee of £1 million. He played a key role in Oldham's survival in the inaugural Premier League season in 92-93, but struggled with injuries in later years. Following Oldham's relegation in 1994, he remained with the club for another 2 years before finishing his playing career with short spells at Kidderminster Harriers and Forest Green Rovers. After retiring, Olney moved away from football and has remained largely out of the public eye. He rarely gives interviews or attends events. A quick scan of the company's house shows he was a businessman for a firm called Synergy. Devon White was a powerful target man who began his career in non-league football with Arnold Kingswell before earning a move to Lincoln City in 1984. He soon returned to part-time football with the likes of Boston United and Grantham before getting a big break with Bristol Rovers in 1982, scoring 53 goals in 202 games. White signed for Queen's Park Rangers in 1993, stepping up to the Premier League. While not always a regular starter, he made valuable contributions during his time at Loftus Road, scoring 9 in 26 games. In 1994, he moved to Notts County, where he played a key role in their promotion push before later having spells with Watford and Shrewsbury Town. He finished his career in 2000 with stint Ilkeston Town before retiring. Following his playing career, White has worked as an electrician, though he remains a cult hero among fans of Bristol Rovers. In 2011, he was victim of an imposter who posted racist remarks to social media using his name. Willie Falconer was a versatile forward who began his career with Aberdeen in 1982, coming through the youth system and playing under Sir Alex Ferguson. Falconer was part of the Dons squad that won the Scottish Cup in 1984 and remained at the club until 1986 when he moved to Watford. After 2 years at Vicarage Road, he signed with Middlesbrough in 1991, where he played a key role in their promotion to the Premier League. He moved to Sheffield United in 1993, playing a single season which ended in relegation, with Falconer posting 4 goals in 23 appearances. He moved on to Celtic, where he won the Scottish Cup in 1995, before moving on to Motherwell, Dundee, Clydebank and St Johnstone, before a brief move back to England with Grimsby Town in 2002. He retired with Clyde a year later. Following retirement, Falconer stepped away from the professional game and has worked away from football. Graham Hyde was a hard-working midfielder who began his career with Sheffield Wednesday, coming through the club's youth ranks before making his senior debut in 1990. A reliable and combative presence in midfield, he was part of the Wednesday squad that reached both domestic cup finals in 1993 under Trevor Francis. Hyde remained an Owl until 1999, making over 200 appearances for the club. After Wednesday's relegation from the Premier League in 2000, he moved on to Birmingham City, where he spent 2 seasons, helping them reach the First Division playoffs. He later had spells with Chesterfield, Peterborough United and Hereford United before dropping into non-league football, where he played for Worcester City and Hensford Town, Hales Owen Town and Fleet Town before retiring in 2008. Following his playing career, Hyde moved into coaching and has managed non-league clubs, including Redditch United, Boston United and Telford United. He stepped away from competitive football in 2013. Nicky Banger was a forward who began his career with Southampton, coming through the club's youth system before making his senior debut in 1989. A promising young striker, he found it difficult to secure a regular starting spot at the Dell, but still made 55 league appearances, scoring 8 goals. In 1994, he moved to Oldham Athletic, where he remained for 3 seasons. He then signed for Oxford United, where he remained for 2 years before a brief spell with Dundee. He later had stints with clubs including Scunthorpe United and Plymouth Argyle before dropping into non-league football, turning out for clubs such as Andover, Woking, Eastleigh and Newbury before retiring in 2006. After retiring, he remained involved in football, working as a coach and in commercial roles at various clubs such as Havant and Waterlooville, Aldershot Town and Woking. Luc Nijholt was a Dutch right-back and midfielder who began his career in his homeland with Haarlem in 1981 before moving to AZ Alkmaar in 1987. After a year with AZ, he went on to FC Utrecht and Old Boys. In 1990, he moved to Scotland to join Motherwell, where he spent 3 seasons. His performances earned him a move to England in 1993 when he signed for Swindon Town. Nijholt was a key figure in Swindon's sole Premier League campaign, going on to make 67 league appearances before departing in 1995. He returned to the Netherlands to play for Volendam before retiring in 1998. Following retirement, Nijholt moved into coaching, working with a number of clubs in Europe and Asia, including Red Bull Salzburg, Dynamo Tbilisi, Shandong Luneng, and Al Wada. He has also been involved in youth development and scouting, continuing his connection with football beyond his playing days. David Kerslake was a right-back who started out at Queen's Park Rangers, coming through the youth system before making his senior debut in 1985. Kerslake was a regular at Loftus Road for 4 seasons, making over 50 league appearances before joining Swindon Town in 1989. At Swindon, he became a key player, earning him a move to Leeds United. His time at Elland Road was short-lived, and he had soon moved again to Tottenham Hotspur. At Spurs, he mainly served as a squad player, competing with the likes of Dean Austin for the right-back spot. In 1997, he left Spurs for Ipswich Town, followed by spells at Wycombe Wanderers, again with Swindon, before retiring with Canvey Island in non-league football. Following retirement, Kerslake moved into coaching, working as an assistant and caretaker manager at clubs including Northampton Town, Nottingham Forest, Watford, Cardiff City, Gillingham, Lincoln City, Blackpool, and currently Ebbsfleet United. Peter Butler was a tough-tackling midfielder who began his career with Huddersfield Town in 1984, later moving to Cambridge United before making a name for himself at Southend United. Butler joined West Ham United in 1992, where he played a key role in their promotion to the Premier League. A combative presence in the middle of the park, Butler made 70 league appearances for the Hammers before moving on to Notts County in 1994. He later played for West Bromwich Albion and had stints with clubs including Grimsby Town and Halifax Town before winding down his playing career in 2000. Following retirement, Butler embarked on a coaching career that took him across the world. He managed clubs and national teams in Asia and Africa, including Botswana, South Africa, Malaysia, and Liberia. He remains involved in football, continuing to coach and develop players in different regions globally. His most recent position was with the Bangladesh women's team. Gerald Dobbs was a midfielder who began his professional career with Wimbledon in 1991. He spent 5 seasons with the club, making 33 league appearances and scoring 1 goal. In 1995, he had a brief loan spell at Cardiff City, featuring in 3 matches before moving on to the conference with Dover Athletic in 1996. He played for 2 seasons at Dover, making 55 appearances. Dobbs then took his career to Ireland, signing for Cork City in 1998, before later playing for Cove Ramblers in 2000. Details on his time there are limited, and he soon stepped away from the sport. Since retiring, we must admit defeat in locating him. We can't find any interviews, profiles, or company appointments. Literally, the only bit of modern news is where someone posted to Twitter asking for helping in identifying a photo of Dobbs that was found in a second-hand thrift store. Do you know Gerald? Drop a comment below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.